Well, the Wofford Terriers had to hang on Saturday afternoon, but they did. And with a 24-21 win over the Citadel Bulldogs on homecoming at Gibbs Stadium, the Terriers upped their record to 7-1 overall, 5-1 in the Southern Conference, and now on the docket a trip to Birmingham this week as the Terriers will take on the Samford Bulldogs. Welcome into the program, Mark Hauser along with the coach. And Coach, a tale of two halves and then a tale of surviving that second half.
It was a very difficult game. We knew it would be. They had 2 weeks to prepare for us. They had had some injuries at their linebacking core, but they had an opportunity to rest and recover. 2 weeks to work a game plan, and we knew it would be difficult. They had a new defensive coordinator. We were not quite sure whether he would come out in a base 4-3 or go to 50 or 8-man front, and it was kind of on-the-job training, so to speak, as the game started. We realized what the front was. We had an idea of what they were trying to do, and in the first half we executed extremely well. We stayed away from penalties. We didn't have any turnovers, which was huge in the game, and ended up with 24 points. Second half, we just couldn't get it right. Drove all the way down. I think our first drive coming back in the third quarter was over 6.5 minutes, and no production. We got behind. We ended up going forward on a 4th and 1 and didn't make it. And earlier in that series, we had an offside penalty, and if you don't have that offside penalty, you're still marching towards the goal line. We had a holding call at a critical time. We had an illegal procedure at a critical time, and we just got way out of sync. Fortunately, defensively, we stepped up, made some plays, and at the end, we were playing really good defense. We put pressure on the quarterback. We created some problems for them. They fumbled the ball 3 times. We recovered it once. But overall, it was a heck of a game for us and a great win. Anytime you can go to Boone and beat App State and then have Georgia Southern come in at your house and beat them, you're a pretty good football team. And Kevin has done a great job of getting that team better in a hurry, and they've got a lot of older kids. You look at their offensive front, very experienced. You look at their running backs, very experienced quarterbacks, at least a couple years running the offense and the option, and they did a great job with it. But at the end, we came up with one more than they had, and I'm glad. We're
relieved, maybe?
Very, very.
Your quote to Todd Shaughnessy in the paper, in fact, his lead was, "You said, now you know why I have gray hair." That's right. What you said to Todd.
That's exactly right. And a lot of people think that as a coach you can do so much on the boundary and, get them right and all that stuff. But bottom line is you can't cross that chalk. Matter of fact, they make you stay 6 feet away from it. And you've got to have guys that go out there and guys that execute. And I thought that we had a good game plan. We just didn't implement the game plan the way that we needed to from an offensive standpoint. Face another challenge this week, Samford, another road game, and going to be tough.
And our question this week, Coach, comes from Bob in Spartanburg for you.
Okay.
And he wants to know, when a young player comes in, and you talked about it a little bit earlier with Will Gay, how do you present it to a player that you're going to redshirt him? Because kids want to play.
Well, I think you start in the recruiting process and let them know how you deal with it. We tell our guys that when you come in as a freshman, you'll be given every opportunity to show what you can do. If you're the best guy, you're going to play. If you're second best, you're going to be the first backup. And if you're not ready, and we see that, we're not going to waste a year on you. We're going to set you, redshirt you, and then hopefully get you in the weight room, get you bigger, faster, stronger, and then you go through a year of spring, which all you're focusing on is your offense. It's not so much about an opponent or a game situation or whatever. You get a lot more teaching at a slower pace, and a lot of guys, quite frankly, mentally they catch up at that point, and then they're able to go out and play the game at the speed that it needs to be played at. The toughest things for young kids, quite frankly, you can be a 10 flat 100 meters guy, and if you're thinking about a play on what to do, how to do it, where do I go, and all this stuff, you're not playing that fast.
Right.
You're not the player that you should be or can be. And so the two guys that we've talked about as far as Will Gay and Ray Smith, it's just one of those deals where, Raymond had a great background. He's, again, a guy that gets football. Same thing with Will.
Yeah.
And both of them are guys that played in a system that that they had to learn a lot, and they just guys that learn. They're guys that in a meeting you can talk a concept in a meeting and they get it. So very fortunate to have them. There's no doubt in my mind that I think both of them are going to be really good players for us.
Follow-up question, is it almost automatic now that your offensive linemen get redshirted? I can't recall recently where we had a true freshman actually be active for O-line.
It's been a while, but, we've had guys that have done that. Coach Nash, he was a guy that did it for us. We had a guy named Bobby Gibbs, All-American for us. He did it. There's guys that can come in and do that. Most of the time when the guys come in and do that, they're guys that have been associated with programs that run the triple, that they understand veer blocking, they understand the loop schemes, and they I think connect the dots a lot quicker because they've done it in high school.
How about a year to get bigger and stronger? How important is that at all positions?
It's huge. You have a lot of guys that come in and they're used to the high school game, and the biggest difference, quite frankly, is the athletes that you're going to play at this level in our league. They can play anywhere, and they're guys that are athletic. They're guys that are explosive. They're big and physical, and some guys just aren't physically ready to do that. And so you put them, as we say, in the smokehouse for a year, and the next thing you know, you come out with a good player.
There you have it. That is our GSP International question of the week for Coach Ayers. Samford owns a record of 3-3 in the conference, and that'll be the Terriers' opponent this week at Seabird Stadium in Birmingham. That'll be a 3 o'clock Eastern kickoff. We'll have the broadcast at 2:30. Coach, they're 5-3 overall. They've played just about everybody they've gone up against tough this year.
Right.
And I guess the first thing you look at when you talk about Coach Sullivan's team is Andy Summerlin is a transfer from the University of Memphis. He comes in to play quarterback, 6'4", 220. I mean, that's NFL size.
It is.
And he's completed 64% of his throws, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So talk a little about him, what challenges he might pose.
Well, he's a very athletic guy, strong arm. He can throw it a mile. 64%, that's pretty good completion percentage. And then he has the ability to run with the football when they're running their read option, zone option schemes. They have a tremendous tailback, an all-conference player, an all-American player in Fabian. And you look at them offensively, and big guys, just really big guys, 6'4", 6'5", and guys 300 plus. They'll mash you. That's what they want to try to do. They want to try to just create a seam in the line and give it to that tailback. And when you start adding to the box, that's when they're going to try to throw it over your head. And so big challenge for us, really is.
Truss not only has run for over or close to 700 yards this year. He's their second leading receiver. He's caught 25 balls this year. So on average, 4 or 5 times a game, he'll get a pass somewhere out of the backfield. Who does that put the most pressure on in terms of your line, your linebackers? Who's got to be aware of that with him?
You've got to be aware at the linebacker position. You got to be aware at the defensive line position. People say, well, why? Well, he's a great screen guy, and they run the screen extremely well. And then your third level guys, he's one of those guys that can sneak out of the backfield, and all of a sudden you're running a wheel route, and your outside backer doesn't quite pick him up, and next thing you know, he's 20 yards on top, and they'll throw it in there on you. So a lot of challenges, really. A lot of challenges.
Defensively, the first thing you mentioned is they have 2 inside defensive linemen. They run a 4-3 on paper. They both go 310 pounds. So that's some beef you got to try, some pianos you got to move.
Right. They're 6'4", and over 300. You look at them at their linebacker position, all of them are big linebackers. You've got guys 235, 243, 250-something. And here's an interesting stat for you. They've got a free safety that's 6'2", 220.
That's NFL size.
And he can fly.
Yeah.
And he will arrive at the line of scrimmage, and he'll put a hat on you. And we've got to find ways to be able to get the football run inside, and then you've got to find ways to run it outside. And a lot of people will laugh at this when they hear this statement, but we've got to be able to throw the football effectively.
Yeah.
And we're working hard. We started early this morning. We just finished just before the show as far as talking about scripts and plays and what can we do against them, and we'll talk about it again tomorrow when we get back.
You've had some success against them. Last year, you, I think, put 38 points on the board against Samford. Right. What worked in the past?
Well, a big thing that happened in the game last year was we had a little bit better understanding of what they were going to try to do against us. We had a good plan. A couple things went our way. Mitch Allen had a big day. Mitch rushed the football. I think he probably rushed for about 130 or 40 yards. Eric had a great day. Donovan Johnson had a great day. And we were able to beat him inside and outside. Had a couple throws that were nice throws, and but at the same time, we turned the ball over, and that created problems for us a couple times. What's it going to take to win the game? You can't turn the ball over to them. We've got to be opportunistic with our offense. We got to move the sticks, and we got to score points and score more than we've been scoring. Defensively, we got to play sound, play aggressive like we've been playing, not give up the cheap one, tackle well in space.
And finally, a quick note on their head coach, Pat Sullivan, a guy you've gotten to know over the past few years.
Great guy.
He is, and he's been battling pneumonia a couple of times. He's had to be away for games. We talked about it at lunch today. It's hard to imagine you being away from a game, so you have any idea what he's going through?
Well, the only thing that I've missed as far as football in almost 40 years was a practice. I missed a practice due to the flu, and I was just too weak to get out of bed. A couple of days later, I got back, and everything's good. I've never had pneumonia. I don't know what it's all about, but I know that this is the second time for Pat in a short period of time, and it's a concern. He's a great man. He's very well respected by everybody in the business, and he's a heck of a football coach.
Terriers are 3-1 against Samford since the Bulldogs joined the conference 5 years ago. They'll get them this Saturday at Siebert Stadium. That's our look at this week's opponent.
Here's Mark Hauser and the coach.
All right, we're joined now by Wofford defensive line coach and recruiting coordinator, Jack Teachey. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Your line's having a pretty good year. You seem to be getting into the backfield and messing people up as much as possible.
We're trying. We've got a pretty young group. Defensively overall, we've got a lot of veterans, but up front we're a young group. Got a couple of seniors. Unfortunately, some injuries have happened, and the seniors are still leading and kind of leading the young kids. But we've got a great group, a core of young kids that can play the game.
What's it been like from you? I mean, last year you coached the Dream Team. You've got Emmett Paul, Alex Goldtree, Eric Eberhard. You had 3 all-conference guys up front. And Mike Young, our basketball coach, said one year when he had all seniors, he said, all I had to do was make sure the bus got to the arena. So you go from that to this year, and when you sit, like you said, you're so young. What's it been like for you going from that scenario to this scenario?
Well, every year you've got to make adjustments. You got a different crew. I was very blessed. I've been very blessed to have some players and just try not to mess them up. But, you know, you go back to fundamentals. That's one thing. It never changes. You've got to be great with your fundamentals and techniques and your understanding of our defense.
Tarek Odom moved from nose to defensive end this year. What was the reasoning behind moving him?
Just free him up, getting him out of the middle. And we felt like we had 3 really good nose guards that were coming in, all freshmen, but just to get our best people out on the field.
And can you give us an idea as to how athletic he is for his size? We hear stories, but you get to actually coach him.
He's like unlike most kids of his size that are that strong, they tend to be a little tight, a little stiff, as we say in the business. But he is very fluid, flexible kid with great balance. After his freshman year, after I think our 4th or 5th two-a-day practice, most people were dragging off the field and cramping and having a tough time getting off the field. Tarek just does backflips off the field. So I caught everyone's attention.
All right, you get Samford this week. What kind of challenges will they pose, maybe specifically for the defensive line?
They're very, as usual, very big, very physical, great skill people, great scheme, and they're very well coached.
All right. Fair enough. And you are the recruiting coordinator.
Yes, sir.
And I've noticed that, and I don't know if it's coincidence, but this year you seem to bring in a lot of kids from right here in the upstate. Will Gay, Ray Smith, Nick Crocker came in the year before from Broome High School. A lot of local kids. Is that an unusual thing for this program? Is it something you're trying to concentrate on, or is it just one of those years?
We always want to hit our home state, and we've got 9 coaches in this state recruiting as hard as we can go. And some years it doesn't work out, but we felt like we got a great crew in those kids, and just in this area in the upstate and in the Spartanburg County is some of the best football really in the southeast.
Yeah.
And we definitely want to take advantage when we have an opportunity to get a young man.
Best part of being recruiting coordinator, hardest part about being recruiting coordinator?
Whoa, I don't know if there is a best part. Work, it's just a lot of work, but again, it's not me. You've got basically 11 of us working as hard as we can as a cohesive group, and that's the best thing about being here. We've all been here so long, we kind of know what each other, as far as coaches are looking for in our kids. So, that's a definite positive.
All right, Coach, great to see you. Good luck this week.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is Wofford defensive coordinator Jack Teachey joining us.